Tonight, I know normal team calls are on Monday, but I am super excited to welcome Amy Rada to our team call. So for those of you who don't know who Amy is, I feel like everyone here knows who Amy is, but she has been coaching for 3 years. She is one of the newest superstar diamond coaches. And tonight she was officially named a 2019 top 10 coach. I mean, her team has just exploded over the last year, and Amy is here to talk to us a little bit more about Instagram, where I think a lot of that growth has happened for her and where she's really been able to form that community. I mean, I think the spectacular thing about all the teams that we're on is that we all have that strong community. And as new coaches, or as coaches who sometimes feel like we're struggling to recruit, and I know recruitment's really been our theme this week and this month, you know, how do we find those people who then create those same communities for us and for our team? And so I am just so excited to welcome Amy to the call and congratulate her. You know, Amy and I have gotten to spend a little time together over the last year, and I'm so excited that we get to spend more time together next year. So congrats, Amy. I'm gonna turn it over to you, and yeah, you guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the chat. So floor is yours, Amy, and congrats.
Wow, thank you so much, you guys. I have been super emotional for the past hour and a half or so, and then I just met with all my diamonds. So, you know, my makeup's washed away and my cheeks hurt and my brain is all over the place, and it's just been a roller coaster of emotions. So I'm going to do my best to execute this to the best that I can. But I love questions at the end, because that's truly where I can just be raw and authentic with you guys. So anything you ask, I'm an open book. I'd be happy to share with you all. I did create a little bit of a PowerPoint just to keep my mind on track, and I'm a very visual learner. So hopefully this helps you, but I'm going to share. Oh, Holly, would you mind being able to?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, host.
You a host. Yep, make host.
Appreciate it.
You're ready to host? Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So, thumbs up if you can see my little, cool. Okay. Let's see. View full screen. Maybe not. Okay. So here is a little bit about me, and Holly kind of shared, you know, some of the highlight reel, and that's incredible, and it's so humbling and great to hear. But, you know, there's a lot that goes back to my story when I started as a coach 3 years ago. And I think it's important to kind of understand where I started to compare it to where I am today, because there was a lot of growth that happened. There was a lot of learning that happened. There were a lot of trials, a lot of triumphs. So I just really want to share a little bit about my Instagram journey, because it's very humbling when people ask me to share about Instagram, but I don't feel like I have any magical, you know, equation to share with you, because a lot of what I have learned has taken time to learn, or I have been, you know, the biggest student to learn all of what I could find out on the internet, which has its perks and has some of its trials with that as well, and I'll talk a little bit about that. But it's just truly important to understand that everyone has a day one. Like, we all have a day one, and regardless where you are in this coaching journey, it all depends on your grit, on your work ethic, on your mindset, on how bad you want your why to be accomplished. And so just remember that everyone is given the same tools. Everyone is given, you know, 24 hours in a day. And although that might look a little different for each person, it comes down to how bad do you want this? And so, you know, Holly and I are no different than you. Melanie worked her butt off to be where she is. Same with, you know, Ashley and all those amazing people who I've admired along my journeys as well. But it's incredible, because last February, I went to NLC for my first time. And so I was at New Leadership Conference, sitting in those seats, watching the top coaches of the network present their information and their motivation. that was my first time. And then from that retreat or from that leadership conference, I went home and I started believing in the beauty of what my dreams could accomplish. And that's where I kind of empowered myself to dream bigger, to really attack my goals, and to clearly express to my team what I wanted for us. So that's just a little backstory on me, but just to give you some perspective, I did start in October of 2015, and I started Instagram as a coach with 400 followers. I believe we're close to like...
Damn it.
Oh. I hope your night goes better. I think we're at like 68,000 now. Over the past 3 years, we've grown so big, and I say we... the Happy, Healthy, Humble account has grown so big. And like I said, I wish I had a magical formula to give to you all and just say, do this, and do this, and you will see great success. But honestly, it took a lot of roller coaster rides. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about social media, mainly through my own research and, just trial and error, and then taking notes on what works, what doesn't, scratching what does, repeating what does, or scratching what doesn't, repeating what does. But I had no background in social media. I had no background in marketing. I had no idea what I was doing. And here I was, still skeptical of being part of an MLM. I had been part of MLMs in the past. I did Herbalife for 2.5 years. And so I knew kind of that icky sensation that people would have about a network marketing business. So I was still kind of skeptical myself. And when you look at your upline and you see their success and you see their name in shining lights and all of this amazing thing that they're accomplishing and all these trips that they're going on, it's hard to believe that you are capable of doing that too. So I struggled a lot with mindset at the beginning of my journey. I graduated college with an elementary education degree and an emphasis in early childhood. So I actually double majored, and I got a job right outside of college and basically lived that cookie cutter life of this is what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life until I'm 62. And I kind of fell into this rut of going through the motions every day. And, my kids filled me up. I did love the aspect of teaching, but there were so many things about teaching that I didn't love, and it wasn't fulfilling my life. And so when Beachbody kind of came into my story, it was like this foreign object being, trying to get into this world of a cookie cutter box that I was living, because that was what I knew. I was playing it safe. I was doing what I knew I was expected of. I went and got my master's degree. I was doing X, Y, and Z because I thought that was what the purpose of my plan was. So when Beachbody came in, it was hard for me to grasp dreaming. Like, what is dreaming? What does it mean to dream big? And so it's just, and it sounds so silly, but it was true. Like, I saw the potential. I could see that there were people who were successful with this, but I had no idea or belief that that could be me. And so I was very self-conscious. I was very worried about what everybody else was going to think when I posted my photos. And let alone, if you're a teacher, obviously I taught kindergarten, so it's not as bad or as hard as teaching middle school or high school, but I was worried about what my students' parents were going to say or think, and what my principal was going to think, and what my coworkers were going to say. So it was really hard for me to get started. Like, I was really excited about it because I was seeing results, and I was excited about my transformation with my gut health. And I was just kind of in that realm of, where do I go with this? And so honestly, Instagram was kind of where I took off with my story. But I'll get to that in a second. So you guys, if you're still worrying about what other people are going to think, you have to let that go in order to go into the next step. You have to let go of that self-conscious belief that people are talking about you, or when you leave a room, people are rolling their eyes, because that truly was my reality. And once I let that go, I was able to then get to that next level of dreaming again. I also had a very unsupportive spouse. He hated sales. He hated it. He told me he didn't want me to become a coach. And even when the income started to come in, he still did not like what I was doing. So it was really difficult for me to dream bigger when the person that means the most to you is kind of putting down those dreams and telling you, I married a teacher. So, and that's not why we got divorced. I'll get to that later, but not why, but just, my story. So if you don't know, I just went through a divorce this year as well. Totally out of the blue, wasn't expecting, but, beautiful things come after storms. So it's just incredible to share with you my testimony. And I hope that after this call, you'll get off with just some of that fire in your belly and say, okay, if Amy Rada can do this, like there is no reason why I can't accomplish top 10, or there is no reason why I can't grow my Instagram, or there's no reason why I can't be a superstar coach. Because never in a million years would I think that I would ever be in this position today. So the social media chaos is real, you guys. There are so many books out there. There are so many podcasts, so many articles, so many YouTube videos. It honestly is like a black hole, and you can honestly be a part of this black hole for hours and hours and hours without even realizing it. And so when I was trying to learn and become better with my social media, I was getting so many mixed messages, so many mixed, to-dos, that it became overwhelming. And I was trying to make my Instagram look a certain way, and it started to feel less like myself. And it kind of brought the joy away from sharing what I was sharing. And so one of the biggest keys that I want you to write down is never compare yourself. And I know we hear it a lot. It's very redundant, but it's so important. You cannot compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 20. And I posted this here to show you. This is basically my first, I think this was like my second month as a coach. And you can tell right here, I'm still trying to figure out a lot. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I was posting. And I think that's one of the most important parts about starting as a new coach who's nervous about this whole company and all of the ins and the outs and all these successful people and what they're doing. I think it's important to relay the message to our newer coaches that you have to just start. You just have to get started. So I put in here, do your research, but be very careful with what you decide to take on as what you're going to do next. So one video would tell me to post once a day, and then there was another video telling me to post 6 times a day. One video was telling me to have the same exact color scheme and do white backgrounds. Another video was telling me to portray color and, life and movement and do more videos and do more quotes, but don't do quotes. And so it's just super confusing. So I say it's so important to be your biggest learner and your biggest advocate and learn all that you can learn. But B, take what feels right to you and try it out for at least a couple months to see if it's something that is working and helping you grow your business. If it's not working, scrap it, try something new, but you have to give it time because this business is not an instant gratification business. It's going to take a couple months to see success. And so a 1 month or, a couple weeks of trying one thing or trying a new set of hashtags is not going to show you success. So you have to keep going and make sure that you give it enough time to evolve. So stop worrying about what you think it's supposed to look like and just begin. And that's what I tell my new coaches every single time because they're like, I don't know what to post. I don't know how to do this. I don't even know how to take a selfie. And we really need to remember those emotions and those feelings if we're veteran coaches. I don't even consider myself a veteran coach yet, but remember how you felt on day 1 and really just portray those emotions into your new coaches to help them get started in their social media too. So this is what my Instagram looks like now. And basically over the last 3 years, I have constantly used my Instagram as my accountability partner. And what I mean by that is becoming a coach was one of the best decisions in my life because it held me accountable, because I made it a mission of mine to always post my sweaty selfie, regardless of how it looked, regardless of what time of day it was. I knew to myself, to hold myself accountable, I had to post my sweaty selfie. And guess what? That shows that I'm being proof of the product. That shows that, I'm being someone that somebody else could rely on and I could hold them accountable because I'm showing up every single day. So for my newer coaches, I tell them to just post the 4 vital behaviors. And I know those are kind of evolving and changing, but I posted about my meal plan, something along the lines of what I was eating, how I was now learning about how to portion control, which I've never done before because I was a very avid, deprive myself calories and then binge eat, after being so hungry and tired and whatever. And so I would talk about that. I would do my sweaty selfies, super simple, show people that I was showing up for myself. And then I would use something that I read in my personal development or something that I found on Pinterest inspiring to me. And I would take a photo of myself in my classroom, or, try and spread that positivity throughout. And then I would recognize either myself for accomplishing a goal, or somebody, whether it was my mom or, a new coach on our team. I would start recognizing people. And those were my posts. So if your coaches are like, I don't know what to post, I don't know where to go from here, just encourage them to start with the 4 vital behaviors and make sure that they're getting that workout in every day. Make sure they're being accountable with their eating habits. After that, slowly started to build my Instagram. I implemented miracle mornings because, you guys, having an unsupportive spouse, owning a photography business on top of my teaching job. I also had to take a tutoring job because we were living paycheck to paycheck and could not make ends meet. I had no other choice than to implement the miracle morning. And so my alarm went off at 3:45 Monday through Friday with the alarm title of, if not now, when? Because there was no other time pocket in my day where I could devote a solid hour of time to this Beachbody business. And I knew that I had goals and I had to be my biggest cheerleader. I didn't really have anyone else in my corner besides my mom, but she was 6 hours away. So waking up at 3:45, got my workout in and took a shower and posted about my workout. And then as my hair was drying, I would check into my groups, check into my emails and my Facebook messages. And then I would go and I would do the reach outs that I knew I had to do to grow my circle. So implementing the miracle mornings was a game changer for my business because I didn't have the time. And I know we all live very busy lives, but you guys, if this is important to you, if you see the potential of what Beachbody can bring to your life, then you will make time. And I have to tell you, when I was pushing to Diamond, I had never been so tired in my entire life because I literally was driving myself to the grave since I was so determined. But it was okay. It was okay that I was so tired because I was chasing after my dreams. And now looking back, I don't have to wake up at 3:45 anymore because I don't have to go to my teaching job anymore. I don't have to tutor. I don't have to have my photography business. So all of that hard work that I put forth for a year is now going to pay forward for the next 60 years of my life. Let that sink in. If you can give a year or two of your life and just hit that ground running with all the determination in the world, think of where you'll be in 3 years from now and what that will do for your family and your future. So that was basically the monumental shift in my business, was making time to actually do my business. The other most important thing that I think I earned the most followers through was earning my results. You guys, proof of the product is not just a cliche saying. It's something that truly is going to earn you an income. You have to stay dedicated to a fitness program. You have to stick 100% to the meal plan. I know it's hard and I'm not the best at it, but I did it for that first 21-day experience so that I could be a true testimony to people and not have to, lie through my teeth that I drink wine every single night, because I didn't. I earned my results and I was able to share that before and after photo. People will respond if you have results to show. Sharing other people's results is great, but within your warm market, if you can show that before and after and get people on board, not only did I gain more of a following, but my warm market started to become warm again. Because remember, I had done other network marketing in the past. And so I kind of, drained my warm market at that time. But people seeing that I was showing up every single day, and knowing that my journey was happening and I was happier and healthier, and I had a lot of testimonies of my own to share and personal results to share, that's when people started to trust me and they started to believe in this beautiful product that I had to offer. I posted to my brand as often as possible, and we'll get into that in the next slide, but I was so determined for people to understand who I was as a person just by scrolling through my profile. So without reading any caption, what would be the message that they would feel from my profile if they were just to scroll? And I wanted them to feel inspired. I wanted them to feel like I was going to bring some type of joy into their life and help them with whatever goal they could accomplish because I was able to do that. And then, of course, every time you post a photo, you should ask yourself, is this credible? Am I being trustworthy? Is this valuable? Is this going to add value to somebody's life? Is it consistent? Is it real? Is it honest? And yes, I do post a lot of dog pictures and a lot of funny things, but I'm able to do that now because I do have the following that I have. And these are my people. So my momentum driver in my business was basically posting 5 to 6 times a day. You guys might say like, whoa, I heard from some social media outline out there that I was only supposed to post 1 really good photo a day. Okay, again, going back to my first slide, you have to do what works for you, okay? Posting 1 time a day would be such a disadvantage to my brand because people are looking forward to the next thing. They want to see what I'm doing during the day. They want to see what products I use. They want to see what Moose is doing. So I cannot just limit myself to 1 post a day, even though a couple social media articles are telling me that's what you should do for your algorithm. So again, you have to do what works best for you. But 5 to 6 times a day, my philosophy was the more people saw my face, the more that they saw what I was doing, the more that they saw that I was crushing my workout, the more that they would feel like they were a part of my life and they would see more of me. They would see that happy, healthy, humble banner pop up more and more in their feed. And so I tried to create my own algorithm by posting as much as possible, by having my mom comment on all my photos. And that was just my momentum driver. So hopefully you guys have seen this color wheel. I'm sure you have because you have incredible mentors, but I give this to my newer coaches to complete when they first join, and I have them post a word or 2 about themselves in each of the colors of the pieces of the wheel. And that helps them create their 5 brands because health and wellness and nutrition is just 1 brand. You need to think of 4 others that you can help people see and connect to because they're not going to connect to somebody who is happy and healthy if that's all you post when they're miserable in their life. They're going to be annoyed. And so when you're sharing other things and other interests and other hobbies about you throughout, your month, that's going to help attract people of different natures. So if you looked at your profile and you took away all of your health and fitness photos, all of your food photos, and you took all those photos away, what would you be left with? I always encourage my girls, even veteran coaches, to screenshot their last 12 pictures. What is in those pictures? Cross off the fitness post, cross off the health post, cross off the food plates. What's left? Because if you are basically down to little or, not a lot of content about your actual life, then that's a big red flag. Again, people are not going to be attracted to 6-pack abs if they have 100 pounds to lose. That's going to be really intimidating for them. So for me to attract more people, my brands were teacher. So I reached out and chatted with a lot of teachers because I could relate to them. I knew how stressful our jobs were. I knew how tired they were at the end of the day. I knew how hard it was to eat clean when there's boxes of donuts in the lounge every single Friday. So there was just so much that, I could relate to with the teaching crowd. I was a newlywed, so I was able to connect with those who just got engaged or those who were planning a wedding or those who were newlywed to get back on track. Because who's not motivated when you have to sweat for the dress and for the wedding? I was a fur mama, which seems silly, but Moose is my child, and I basically began blowing him up as part of my brand because people loved seeing photos of him. And people are like, oh, you should create Instagram for Moose. And I joke, and I'm actually serious, but if I did that, I would lose half of my following, you guys, because Moose was such a big part of my brand. And then health and wellness, and then kind of like an outdoorsy and food nutritional guru type of thing, because I am gluten-free, I am dairy-free, so I attract those people as well. So structuring my posts around the whole day. Guys, think about it. We are now a part of the UK who are 6 hours ahead of us, either ahead or behind. I think it's ahead. 6 hours, that's a huge time difference. But even moving from Central Time to Mountain Time, because I now live in Colorado, like my Eastern babes are already 3 hours into work before I even wake up. And so you just have to keep that mindset of, posting that call to action at 7:00 on a Sunday night every single week is actually a disadvantage because you're not attracting different time zones. You're not attracting different networks. So make sure that you're posting all of you around the whole day. Sundays and Mondays are probably the best days to post that call to action with your before and after, but think about the different times when people are scrolling through their phone, because if you're not posting those call to actions and your dream coach is in the East Coast and you're in Pacific time, you're going to miss out and they're going to find someone else to join. So just remember, you have a whole day to post. How can you structure your posts to make sure you're reaching everybody that you possibly can? I really dug deep. I love to learn, and although I have an amazing upline, my upline is Jamie and Steve Innes, and their upline is Chelsea and Rob Pearson. So I really come from a strong rooted upline with lots of tools and lots of trainings, and I am forever grateful for them. But I also did a lot of work on my own time. I made sure that if I had a question, I researched it. I went to YouTube to research, how to edit a photo, how to really use Lightroom to its full efficiency. And yes, having a photography background was helpful, but there was a lot that I needed to know about social media and marketing and all of that. So if you're not doing the work, you cannot expect your upline to be giving you all the tools you need. So I really, really want you to go out there and tackle the things that you're struggling with on your own. And now that we can link our profiles as a business profile, studying those insights and making sure that you are tracking what's working and scrapping what isn't is so crucial. You guys, if it's not working, if you're not growing, if you're not rank advancing, and those are your goals, something's not working. So go and reevaluate what you're doing, what you're posting. Figure out what got the most engagement and do more of that. You have to study your own insights to understand what you can do more of and what you should be doing less of. Finding my hashtags was a huge, huge, huge thing. And it's so funny because I thought hashtags were ridiculous when I joined Instagram. And I actually mocked them. I was like, oh, hashtag blessed. Like, that's ridiculous. But now I actually use it because I understand what it does. It connects you to so many different worlds of different people. So I had 5 different hashtags for all 5 of my brands. So if I was posting a health and wellness photo, I used my health and wellness, chunk of hashtags, and I kept them in my notes section. And I even created like a shortcut that you can do in your phone so that when I'm ready to post my hashtag, I just typed in, hashtag fitness. And then all 30 of my fitness hashtags would pop up. And then I had a whole nother group of, dog hashtags. So I could attract those people who were following BarkBox and those people who, were fur mamas, who had nothing to do with the health and wellness world. And anytime I posted a photo of moose, I would then use the hashtag, the shortcut hashtag moose, and that would pop up all of 30 of my hashtags. So it was really just effortless after I took a whole day to find out which hashtags were going to be most effective for my crowd. And then the 5-3-1 method is something that I learned from Chalene Johnson's podcast. And I don't know if it was her method or she adopted it from somebody, but it's basically, and a lot of people are using this now, so we need to be careful because it might be a little bit overly saturated. But there's also the peanut butter and jelly method. So if you don't know what these are, go research it, go figure it out. And it really helped me, connect with those teachers and with those fur moms that I was reaching out to. I was once a Tone It Up girl and a BBG girl, so I really could relate to how those didn't work for me. And I would go and relate and connect with those girls as well. So there's just a lot of ways that you can form connections. And when I was pushing the diamond, I kid you not, I took a notebook and I wrote 1 through 50, and I had to find 50 people a day. And so, I would do that in the morning. I would do that at my prep hour. I would do that at my lunch. I would do that during my prep hour at the end of work. I would do that, after the hubby at the time went to bed. And so I made sure I had my 50, and that did not include my follow-ups because I knew the more conversations that I had, the more people that I can impact. And so with every no, I knew that if I reached out to 100 people and I got 99 no's, I could get that one yes, and I could change that life. I could help her get off her high cholesterol medication, or I could help her defeat heart disease that runs in her family. So yes, every 99 no's was so worth it to me because I was motivated to change a life. Like, that was my game. I wanted to impact people's lives. So sharing my story imperfectly, I did not spell that right, I don't think. Anywho, that goes to show. But I honestly would share the ins and the outs. So this past year has been one of the biggest hurdles and mountains to climb. And honestly, there were days where I wanted to crawl into a hole. And the only thing that kept me afloat is knowing that my mountain, my hurdle, is somebody else's mountain and hurdle that they're currently facing too. And so if I could impact just one person, and I might be mocked by 10, but if I can impact one person to believe that there's hope, to believe that there's other people feeling that sadness too, whether it was through my miscarriage, whether it was through my divorce, finding out that my husband was cheating. So there was just so many things that I had to share with the world, even though it was not easy to do. I shared it, and that helped me create so many relationships from it. Regardless if they signed up to be a customer or a coach, at least I know that I'm being raw and real for everyone. So to wrap up, other ways to grow your Instagram account: share with your warm market. I would contact all my relatives. I would contact all my friends, regardless if they were from high school, college, my teaching colleagues, things like that. I shared with them what I was doing and the purpose behind that not to invite them to a group, but just to ask for their support. Just by asking for their support to come follow me on Instagram or to go like my Facebook page, because this was really meaningful to me. And if they cared about me, hopefully they would go do that. And so that's kind of what got me started. And obviously then they had eyes in on what I was doing and to see how passionate I was about this mission I had. You guys, free groups are the bread and butter of getting people connected to our community. So if people are not saying yes, maybe you need to start offering some more valuable information at a free level, because then you can get them into the community. They can see the type of coach that you are, and you can invite them after the free group to really continue their journey with you. Instagram stories is such a brilliant addition to what we can do to touch more people's lives. We did not have that when we first started, so to have it now is incredible. But when people can see your face light up when you talk about Beachbody or coaching or the community and hear that passion in your voice, I feel like our stories can be told in such a better way when we actually get to speak with people. So go live, go in your stories and tell people what you're doing and why you're doing it. Giveaways are probably my number one attractor. Make sure to like my page, go like this company's page, we'll give away whatever. I always do it at a little milestone in my business, or if a company reaches out to me and asks me to do something. But as I was growing, I had no companies reaching out to me. I was reaching out to them, asking if they would like to partner up with me. So yeah, it started off slow. I had like a dog washing company send me a spigot for our tub. There are a lot of really funny things that I got that I would talk about and give away. But regardless, those people that were following their account, because that company would then repost your photo and they would come to your page and follow you and vice versa. So it really worked out in both ways. But having them tag a friend or sharing in their story, and then they can get triple the entries into your giveaway, are just such great Instagram, increasing ways to grow your following. And then again, tagging the companies. Anytime you're wearing something from Target or from Lulu or from Fabletics or whatever, like always tag the company in your photo, because you never know what they can do. Sometimes they'll just repost your photo. And again, all those people following them will come on over, take a look at who you are, or, start following you. So it's an incredible thing. The other way to grow, you guys, you have to always be in coachable mode. I am still learning everything there is to know about being a successful coach to this day. Just because I'm in the top 10, just because we're a superstar team, doesn't mean that I'm constantly looking to grow and learn more. So you cannot block off your mindset at any time. And then work on your photos. I think this is one of the things that we really look past. You need to learn how to edit. You need to learn the lighting. You need to learn the best way to put something on a plate. Learn those things off YouTube. There's so many videos out there to learn the best that you can. And honestly, go get professional photos taken. I was not making enough money to invest in professional photos at the time that I first booked my session. And so I contacted a really new photographer and asked if she would like to team up with me. I had no idea who she was, but again, I reached out to everybody like crazy. And I said, hey, I'll shout you out on my Instagram if you would give me a discounted rate for your services. And so that's how I started off. But wherever you are, like, have your husband, have a friend, go take a few outfits to the park. If you can't afford a photo session, that's okay, but don't let that be your excuse. Find something else you can do. And really, it's an investment in your business, and it really does wonders for people to look at you and say, wow, this person's pretty credible. They just got photos taken. Like, they must be taking this pretty seriously. So maybe I should take what they have to offer seriously. And going live, you know what? If you're struggling to onboard coaches or to onboard customers, you need to go live more often, because again, people need to hear your voice. They need to hear your story. You have something brilliant to offer them that nobody else can, because there is not another one of you. And so if you can go live in your Facebook like page and then forward that or share that to your regular Facebook page and just ask everyone to come and support you and like your page or whatever, people that then can hear your story. Who were you before Beachbody? Who are you now? And what do you have to offer others? And why aren't you going to go away from this? Why is this now becoming your lifestyle? Share all the ins and the outs. Share your struggles. Share your Me Too moments. Those are the things that people are going to be able to relate to and, really understand why you're doing what you're doing. And the last thing I wanted to say before I go to questions, so if you have a question, feel free to, post it in the chat, but we need to stop worrying about our market. It pains me when people are like, find your niche market, find your person, find your avatar. For me, that is not the case, because I want to help everyone and anyone. That is my heart. That is my mindset. I want to be there to help someone change their life for the better. So instead of casting with a hook, with a single worm and a single hook to find that perfect person or that business builder coach, stop doing that and start casting your net. Start allowing yourself to be open to everyone and anyone who needs our help, because we have so much to offer through Beachbody. We have such incredible tools, and we know that it works. And so we just need to be real and raw and share that every single day and create that curiosity marketing so that people can't help but wonder what we're doing and want to be a part of something this infectious. So with that.
Oh, that was amazing, Amy. Seriously, amazing. Yeah, the comments, I do think there were some questions up in the beginning. Are you happy you branded yourself as happy, healthy, humble instead of Amy Rada?
That's interesting, because one of the coaches that I always admired was Ashley Smith, and her brand is Ashley Smith Fitness. And so when I first started, it was hard for me to really get that mindset around it's okay that this is not your name, because people will now know you as Happy, Healthy, Humble. But Happy, Healthy, Humble came to me in a dream, actually. So I was just so excited that that was my team name, and I quickly changed that to my Instagram name without even really thinking about branding myself. So it was just something that I was really excited about, that was now going to be our team. Even though I didn't have any coaches at that time, and it just kind of stuck. So you know what, if you're at that point in your place in your journey where you might not have a large following or you don't have a big team, absolutely. If you're passionate about changing it, go for it. But don't think that because I'm Happy, Healthy, Humble, I'm successful, because there's an Ashley Smith Fitness, and she's very successful too.
Ashley asked, well, she said, congrats on your engagement. She's also engaged. How are you attracting the engaged girls, the newlyweds?
Sure. So I definitely was really excited about wedding planning. And again, getting your followers involved in your feed. So asking questions. Hey, did you guys go with real flowers or fake flowers? Even if you're passionate about real flowers, this is just an example, but asking, what did you do to save on costs? Or you guys, what's your opinion on the DJ? Or what should we be looking for cake tasting? People always want to share their input, whether it's wanted or not. So by asking questions, you're going to strengthen your algorithm. Your comments are going to post your photo more. So that sort of thing is really beneficial. But I also ran a lot of sweating for the wedding boot camps that were free. So I would get them hooked up with the free trial. I would maybe send them Shakeology samples, or I would have them order the Shakeology sample pack. And we would just go through 7 days of clean eating, seeing the programs, talking about our weddings. What are your colors? It was really fun. But then at the end, I was like, hey, why stop here? Let's get you into our boot camp. And why are we just sweating for the wedding? Why aren't we sweating for the rest of our life? And so it was really, really fun to just kind of put that mindset and go from there. So I did build a lot of relationships from my newlywed market.
Jolene was wondering, what is your take on paying a company to help build a following?
I say no, only because I never did. Instagress was around when I first started as coaching, and it was kind of one of those things where everyone was doing it. So I signed up for a month. I think it was like $9.99, and I hated it because it attracted robots and it attracted false people, and it didn't feel authentic. So you know what? If you're using it, great, and if it's working for you, awesome. However, I built my entire following organically, and so can you. So I just feel like paying for something that isn't authentically you, I don't know. I just have mixed feelings about it.
When you said you found 50 people a day, did you start conversations with all of them or just follow them?
So I use the 531 method, which basically means you go like 5 of their photos, you comment on 3, and you follow them. So now they just got 9 notifications from you. And hopefully they'll come on over to Happy, Healthy, Humble and check me out, figure out why this girl is stalking my page. And then the next day, I would start that conversation with them, regardless if they sent me a message or not, because then I hope that they at least had a couple hours to come and figure out who I was. And then I could, they would feel that I actually invested in them without just sending them a copy and paste message to join my team. But I did really work hard on building relationships. And then I would kind of just cut to the chase and say, I'm really excited that I stumbled upon your page, but I really wanted to know if you're interested in joining something that I consider to be super helpful with my lifestyle. Would you be interested in hearing more? So that was just kind of how I did my reach outs, but I also did my follow-ups.
And how did you track all of that? What did you use for tracking Instagram?
At that point in my career, I tracked with a notebook and a piece of paper and pen. I had one of those very simple spiral notebooks, nothing fancy. And at the top, I would write the date, and I would do 1 through 50. And then, when the conversation started going, and let's say I sent them information, they would get like a highlighted kind of cue for me to know that they answered my questions. I sent them the information. And if they joined or if they purchased, they'd get a check mark. If they kind of were crickets after a few conversations, they'd get a circle. So I knew to follow up the following month. So that's just kind of what worked well for me. Now I work solely using Google Streak. So I do everything off of email. I don't do Instagram messages anymore. A, because of all the haters, and B, because it's just too much. It's too much to have Facebook messages, emails, and Instagram messages and try to collaborate some type of system. So for me, if they're not going to email me, then I need to move on. But I'm at that point in my business where I can choose to be picky. So that's just kind of what's working well.
And then you kind of just touched on this, but do you only use Instagram or do you post to Facebook? And then someone else asked, would you suggest setting up a separate Facebook to link with Instagram?
So I strongly believe everyone should have 2 social media outlets. So let's just say Instagram went away tomorrow. What would your business have left? For me, everything else is posted on Facebook like page. We don't know what social media is going to be. It's so mind-blowing to remember how popular MySpace was. And now like nobody knows what MySpace is if they're just growing up. So that could happen to Facebook. That could happen to Instagram. So you guys really need to be smart about where you're posting and where your business is going. And so everything that I post on Instagram, I post onto my Facebook like page. And, when I was first starting off, I would share a lot of what I posted on my like page onto my personal page so that my friends and my family and people that I was friends with could see what I was doing. But I no longer need to do that. So yeah, basically everything that goes on Instagram, my Instagram's a highlight kind of reel, but I share hardships too. Highlight as in terms of the best of the 6 of that day. And Facebook's where it's kind of like a scrapbook. So you can post everything without worrying about how perfect the photo is or, all that good stuff. So, and going live is so crucial. So when I was building my business, we did challenges throughout the week to do 3 live videos a week. And, it was just so helpful to grow people's interests into what you're doing and that enthusiasm that you share for the business and even just for your healthier lifestyle. So please, if you're not going live, I know it's scary. It could be intimidating. It doesn't matter if no one's watching your live videos, you guys. the more you do it, the more practice you'll have and the better you'll be at it. And so your confidence will grow, your following will grow, everything will grow. It cannot hurt to do it more often, I promise.
I love that. It's so true. Letting people see your energy is like the best thing that you can do. It's the least salesy thing you can do in the world. So Megan asked, do you do the follow, unfollow method? And if you do, like, how do you do that?
Yeah. So again, I had my list, so I tracked everything on a piece of paper. And if somebody was ignoring my second invite, because I would reach out again. And, if you don't know my story, my coach had to ask me 4 times to become a coach. So I might even be hurting myself by stopping at 2, but I stopped at 2. And if they still weren't responding, then I unfollowed them. If they were still kind of like, oh, wishy-washy, it was just such a, I don't know. I would take time, maybe like on a Sunday, couple hours, and I would go through my list and I would go back to that profile. It's very time consuming, you guys. Reaching out and following up is very time consuming. I will not underestimate that or belittle that, but it is so worth it to get down to the nitty gritty, to find those people who need your help and to really be persistent on wanting to help them. What was the other thing I just had on the tip of my tongue? Oh, so we talk about the importance of reaching out and inviting and blah, blah, blah. But what's really important is you're inviting through what you post. And people are silently watching everything you're posting without you even knowing. You would not believe how many messages I get with people saying, hey, I followed you for the last year and you're so inspiring and I'm finally ready to ask you more about this. And I'm like, okay, who are you and where did you come from? So do not underestimate when people are not commenting or you only get 17 likes on your photo. Who cares? Because if you never let off your foot on that gas pedal and you keep posting and you keep inspiring and you keep shouting out people in your circle, people are going to start to feel that energy and they are watching. They just aren't telling you yet. So just remember, it doesn't matter how many people are liking or following or watching. You do it for you, and you do it for the long-term you.
So Jess asked, I've been sending messages to everyone that's following my page. I'm getting awesome feedback, but it's exhausting.
Yep.
Tips, is it worth it? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yep, it's tiring, right? That's the answer.
It's exhausting and it's so mundane and it's like watching paint dry. It's painful sometimes. But you guys, again, if your 100 reach outs could help change that one life, to lose the 50 pounds, to become a boss babe on your team, to be an elite coach in 2 years, like, is that exhausting, mundane process worth it? And I hope your answer is yes. And that's what just kept driving me. It's like, this is what I'm doing right now. But you guys, I don't have to reach out anymore. So all of that hard work that I put forth was so worth it to me, even though it was like pulling my hair out, because it's like, I have this amazing product and I want to offer it to you guys, but why aren't you saying yes? And so I just had to keep going. I had to keep sharing. And eventually it took off.
Yeah. So there's like a bunch of questions about live videos. So are you going live on Facebook, on Instagram, like Instagram Live? Do you count Instagram stories as going live? Like, there's so many places. How do you decide where to do it? Where are you sharing it? Yeah, the overwhelm of live.
So again, what's working for me might not be what works for you, but what I have noticed is when you go live and you get your mom to comment on your photo or your live video, that creates one algorithm, engagement. And so the more people that like and visit and see your videos, the more that people are going to realize what you're doing and hopefully come on over to your page and follow you. Going on an Instagram story is not going live. And when you do go live, Instagram stories should be giving little snippets of what you're doing with the excitement and the enthusiasm and the joy, but it's not going to create that engagement that you need for long term. And so going live in Instagram or on my Facebook like page, I do both, but I choose something non-Beachbody related. I'll maybe do one coaching sneak peek every so often as a live video, but people want to get to know you and want to know your little quirks and be able to smile and laugh alongside you. So what could you offer the world in, a more appealing way rather than, hey, let me talk to you about Shakeology. Like, they can find a YouTube video on that. They want to see what you have to offer them and just kind of get to know your personality. So live videos really can showcase your emotion, your passion, and it does create so much more engagement than a photo does.
Love that. Okay, I know we have to let you go in a minute. There have been several questions about hashtags. So how did you find those hashtags? Do you use anything to help you create them? Yeah, how'd you find those community hashtags?
So I did all of the work and I highly recommend that you don't just go to a hashtag generator, because that will give you some of the most common hashtags. And so if you're unfamiliar with kind of why hashtags are so crucial to our business, basically what happens is when you post your photo and you add your hashtag, it connects you to that entire world underneath that one single hashtag. So if I'm using Fur Mom with a specific photo, my photo goes to the Fur Mom hashtag, and people can search hashtags and see your photo. Now the thing with, if you're a newer coach and you have a smaller Instagram following, you're going to want to find hashtags that are between 1,000 to maybe 10,000 at the very most. You don't want to use hashtag blessed, because that has billions of people using it. And what that's going to do is it's going to spit your photo into this world with the hashtag blessed, and then it's going to go away instantly because there's so many people posting with that hashtag. So you want to find hashtags that are in a smaller group, so that you can have more of that intimacy within that hashtag group, if that makes sense. So think about where you live. I lived in Wisconsin for the longest time, so I did small town Wisconsin girl, or, really made sure to do like Twin Cities, so that I was very specific with my groups of people. And then as my following grew, I was able to kind of expand that to larger hashtag groups. But it takes a lot of time. I think I spent days trying to develop my 30 hashtags for one brand that I had to represent. But once you find those hashtags, again, you need to use them for a good chunk of time before you decide if they're working or not, because it takes time for people to want to follow you. So don't just feel like if you change up your hashtags, you're going to attract more people. You still need to be posting that content, that valuable information, and really trial and error with what you're posting alongside with those hashtags.
All right, I love this. We are going to let you go. I think my big takeaway, and it's really just this business in general, right, is that it takes work and it takes time and it takes patience. When I was in California for Superstar Diamond Day, I was lucky enough to be there with Chelsea Pearson, and we were talking about you, and Chelsea said, if there's one thing that I can say about Amy and how Amy's built her following, is that she put in the work. Chelsea was like, the amount of people that Amy has reached out to, that Amy has talked to, she was like, I have no other coach who has legitimately sat down and reached out and talked to that many people and genuinely cared about them. And, it was nice to hear that. It was nice to hear there's no shortcut. Amy just sat down and did the work. Amy got up at, what did you say, like 3:45 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, and just did it. And that's truly what this business comes down to. And I'm sure that's how you became, top 10 Superstar Diamond Coach this year, because you just sat down and did the work. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. That's very awesome. But
Yeah.
if I could leave you with anything, you guys, just think of what your life could look like 3 years from now. It took me 3 years to get to this point. And even though there were so many dark times and trials and just setbacks, I probably thought about quitting 9 times. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because once you get past that little hump and you start to see that journey of success, it can happen for everyone. So do not give up on your dreams, especially if they're meaningful for you and your family and your financial well-being. Like, this is so possible for every single person. It's not like Beachbody has this bucket that's all of a sudden going to be dried up because there's all these successful people. Like, there's constantly going to be areas for everyone to be accessing that. So keep going. I know this can be such a tough, business to be a part of, but it's also the most amazing business to be a part of.
For sure. Thank you so much for your time, Amy.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Go celebrate. Bye.